Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the WTRL Team Time Trial number 85. We are out on the Harrogate Circuit reverse. 2 laps, 27K. We've got zones going on throughout the entirety of the day. 810 teams, 4,800 riders, 11 events, plus the Platinum League. The events go on throughout the entirety of the day, so all time zones across the world can be served. Dave Towle is next to me. I'm Nathan Guerra. Vienna, Espresso, Frappe, and we got a lot going on besides just the racing, Dave.
Yeah, we sure do. As we wrapped up our World Championships last week, it's important to note for everybody viewing that the teams that are in our Platinum League, this is based on what we did 2 weeks ago. It was a standout week of racing last Thursday. Again, the World Championships, and that's going to be a lot of what we're talking about in the pre-show. We're going to be looking at the posters too. So tremendous amount of excitement. Nathan, seeing the images as you come live here, Harrogate World Championship course from a year ago. So many great memories. So much has changed, more than in any year in my life, for sure. It's so good to see, as you said, almost 5,000 racers out here. What an incredible vibe. So I'm going to throw it back to you. I know you've got a lot on your plate right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Let's go ahead and give a big shout out to No Pins. No Pins in support of the World Championships last week. Did some awesome raffles for some giveaways randomly to the racers and riders. And one of those things that is being given away is their awesome new Sub-Zero kit. Let's take a look at what that is all about. And then let's take a look at who our winners were, as well as across both the championship for the competition of the World Championship. And we'll also take a look at the raffle winners as well.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Nathan. That was a cool look. And thank you to No Pins for supporting the WTRL. This is a look at all of our world champions from 2020. This is the second time the event has been held. There was just amazing energy out there. So it was La Bamba Plus taking it. You're going to notice some new categories here. There's a lot of things are changing. We'll talk about that today. But Doppio is La Bamba's Plus. That was an interesting combination of the Swedish, Austrian, and German riders there. On the Rivet Blur, taking it for espressos, BRT draft beers, and the Frappe Vikings Valhalla, and the Latte. The Big Ring ZGMI, that's our Mocha winner. Socks for Watts took it. What an amazing record. They were a very worthy winner, no doubt. Congratulations to the ladies on Socks for Watts, WRT. They delivered again in the Vienna category. So this is one of the new things people are really excited about. Huge thank you to WTRL for taking this quantum leap forward for women's racing. As you can see, we're going to have a nice breakdown, and racers will get what they've been asking for, which is racing against their own level categories. And I mean, it's not fair to put us up against Socks for Watts. These are the greatest riders in the world. ATP Racing Venom in the Vienna Frappe category, taking the world championship. Team Vegan Bees in Vienna Latte. It's terrifying to think that there's non-vegan bees. Z-Sun R Quasar taking it in the Vienna category. So congratulations to all of our teams around the world. Again, there's pretty much, Nathan, close to 10,000 racers that week in, week out will jump in. As we said, we've got about 5,000 joining us today, but I'll throw it back to you as it looks like we've got some prizes to hand out.
Yeah, and WTRL No Pins Tri-Vest winners. Now, these were randomly drawn individuals who participated in the World Championships. And the Doppio was Daniel Pettinger is going to be getting that from the Vision D-Pack. Espresso, it was Tim Drayson, Adam RT Nuclear. Frappe, Phil Gartel, Total Tri Training 5. Latte was Robert Sabo from EXN1. Mocha was Debbie De Bruyne from the Z-Sun Moon. V Espresso, the Vienna Espressos, Emma Crockett from the Choppers is going to be getting a Tri-Vest, as well as in the Vienna Frappe. Frappe, Catherine Hughes from Onyx Ladies, Vienna Latte, Jenny Sigurdsson from Las Valientes, and then it's going to be in the Mochas for Vienna, Ruth Hudson in the BRT Hiron. So that is the situation there. And then last but not least, we have an awesome prize, and this was the biggest prize in the drawing for the day for sure, and that is going to be the 8 kits that are going to be custom made for that Sub-Zero Cool to the Core No Pins kit that you saw in the promo video there from No Pins. So a big shout out to Vikings Valhalla, your winners of the custom design kit. There's lots going on here, everybody. Now, we had a couple more things we were going to go over, but I think we're going to jump on into the racing, actually, as it looks like there are some riders already jumping out on course, and we're going to take a look at our course profile, and then we'll chat a little bit later about the UCI World Championships next week, as well as the poster competition. We'll take a look at the posters as we are out on course, as well as the Vienna class has jumped out on course. It looks like it's always ladies first, as well as a few of the other categories. We will be covering the Espresso, the Vienna, and the Frappe out there today. So as Vienna are jumping out on course, let's jump right on in with Sisu I Race Like a Girl, Dave, as they start their Harrogate. Now this is a reverse. Harrogate reverse is very different than Harrogate forward. We don't have that initial uphill grind. Instead, we're downhill right away, and a couple of weavy winding sections up front instead.
It's always fascinating to me how doesn't hold true for every course out there, but how dramatically different it can be. They talk about the same thing climbing to the top of mountains in the Tour de France. How if you come from one side, completely different story than another. Well, holds true here. This was the World Championship course that we're on right now. Sisu, I Race Like a Girl, a perennial top 5 team out here, Nathan. They always put up benchmark times to look at. Again, it's nice to be back in full team time trial mode. The squad starting with 8 riders out here. Nathan mentioned at the top of the show, we're doing 2 laps on the course, 27K, but it's a heavy 27K, to tell you the truth, Nathan. It's 27K that's going to feel like 40 by the time that you're done and dusted out here today.
Yeah, and as we do look at the course profile here, as you can see, 6 kilometer, we're going to have the 6 kilometer mark up front as the first time check. That is going to be the Kent Road corner. From there, we're looking forward to the 14 kilometer time check at the back to the Pens, and then it's going to be Oakbeck Bridge at the foot of the climb. And that's going to have a 7.6% peak, a 14% peak there on the other side. That's got to be that really intense downhill on the forward. If you know what I'm talking about there, Dave, that's really windy as you head into the pasture. That's going to be leaving the pasture and back into town, that 14% peak. What an intensity there that we're going to be seeing right before that at that 20K mark. But that middle of the road there, that 14K, it's going by the Pens again. So 2 laps. This is the full distance, as you can see here, for our time checks. 27.4K with 480 meters of climbing. Good amount of climbing out there today.
Yeah, it comes at you just at a steady rate. You never really. So this is a course that doesn't have any recovery on it. That's a really good way to put it. So Nathan, out there by in the pastures, they were putting World Championship jerseys on the sheep. They've done it at various World Championships. I think the cows
awesome.
up in it was
that
quite a sight to see.
Oh yeah, that's so great.
Yeah, in our case, no pins could make the. I don't know if the sheep get too warm. They might. They certainly didn't last year at Worlds, but no pins could make them some jerseys that they could wear. But I guess we're out of World Championship mode. That was last week. I have to remember, stay current. You got to stay hip, right? And we're back into the 85th edition of the WTRL. Absolutely amazing. What a tremendous success story. So the last time we raced here, Nathan, was a year ago. So when it's interesting to see, there's some blasts from the past when you look at Turbo taking the win in the Vienna category, which is the highest level for women.
45.17 is the current course record. For the Espresso, a 38.44 is going to be looking to be beat. That was set by EUTTT. And then the Vikings Fenrir did a 41.40 in the Frappe. Vicious Cycle Pass at 44.59. And the Mochas had Eat Dirt Choice at 57.25. Those are the current course records, so be on the watch out to see whether or not those are going to be broken on the day. We do have some results already in. Just as a heads up, everyone, this is racing throughout the day. So as it is racing throughout the day, we will have results coming in as they get set because of all of the 11 time zones. We cover the Platinum League, but this is going to be nothing in yet for the Vienna's Espresso. That's the top end. Vienna Frappe currently with the 53.14 at the top. That was set by Team WRFC. Then we do see BRT Dark Kittens there with the 54.35 currently in the Vienna Latte. A crossover in the Revo Duvels in regular Vienna, as you can see here. And then it is going with a 53.03. And then we do see the Doppio with Evo Warriors currently at the top end of the men. Evo Warriors, as you can see, with the 37. That's a crazy fast time, actually, with Evo Warriors.
Sure is.
In Innovation Euro Aliens, they're 38.51, as you can see for Espresso. And as we continue on, Cryogen Kestrels with 42.20. The Vicious Cycle Pass 45.59 is the time to beat right now. And then in the Mochas, it's Eat Dirt Twice. And that was actually a time that was set for our records currently as they stand at that 57.25. That was set today, actually.
Yeah, Eat Dirt Twice, the world champions. So they're on a roll. Nathan, you going to race later today?
Yeah.
What time is what's your zone? Yep, you're fired up.
I'll get on the bike. So our meetup is at 8 p.m. I actually did, some people like to do a little bit of an opener on a race day if they have a lot of time. So this morning I rode about an hour and a half, just super, super chill. I played some Hearthstone and rode Zwift at the same time just to get the legs open. And
you know what they call that?
I'm super excited.
What's that? Old school term for that? It's called taking your bike for a walk.
Yeah, I took my bike for a walk. That's exactly what I did. Yep. What it felt like was just taking my bike for a walk. You feel your legs out too, and whether or not they feel light on the day, and then you reload a little bit and get some carbs.
Yeah, get the heart rate up to 90 beats a minute, maybe. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, they're a little higher than that right now. And Nathan, this is why this course is so punishing here. This 4%, this is downtown Payne City, to tell you the truth. And you can see it splits teams. The riders who are feeling it are going to have to really just kind of gauge their effort. Now watch how it comes back together here. So that rider obviously aware of what's going on. But I mean, Nathan, we've been talking team time trialing 101 for 85 weeks. Actually, I was just thinking by the time we get to 100 of the WTRLs, I'll just be getting to the point where I'll have seen half of them, right? I think I started with you right around 50. So you learn a lot along the way. There's like this portal of learning that you go through. When you first start, it's a little overwhelming, but then once you go through that portal and enter the world of team time trialing, all of a sudden it becomes like understanding how music is written, or, you just are up to a higher level. So, all right, we're going to start getting some times in again today. The splits are first one coming in pretty quick here at 6K, 14 and 20.
Yeah, it's going to be a moment, though. There's so much climbing up front. I think it's going to take a moment just to get there. There's
hard to find your rhythm
out here. And you can already see the climbing has put a little bit of struggle here for Nussbaum. She's trying to get back on terms. Losing a rider this early with the 27K with this much climbing is going to be a tough day in the saddle for this team.
You know what this makes me think of, Nathan? That rider who was maybe rushed on their schedule. I mean, not making excuses, but if you don't have a good warm-up for this course, and I'm saying, you're going to need to invest half an hour to get your body primed to race today. And if you don't have that, let's just say you're on a Zoom call with people at work, right? I mean, it happens to so many of our racers. They have a very, very compact schedule. That's one of the beauties of Zwift. But if you weren't warmed up, hopped on the bike 2 minutes before the start, and then when you're in the pen, you don't have a chance to really, you're sitting there cold as a duck on the water, right? Some riders, I guess, have figured out, obviously, there's ways to be able to spin your legs out. But for a lot of riders, you're just sitting waiting for your start time. Once you go, that's brutal. That's like doing a neutral drop in a 1972 Dodge Dart and a cold start, right? It's just not good. It makes a weird sound.
Yeah, and you can hear some of the other categories on the intensity of this course here. We're going to jump in with them in just a moment here. I am in with the Espressos, who are starting to take on those halfway points. This course looks like it is going to be one of the most difficult we have ever seen. Currently, right now, I do believe we have one of our Vision riders from the Vision APAC team taking on that 14% grade. And we'll see if we can bring this on in here because this looks so incredibly difficult here and very, very hard part of course.
As the Belgian commentators would say, oi, 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 oi. Nathan, I don't know that we've seen anything steeper than 14, have we, in any of our team time trials?
That's a good question.
It is. This is very close. If it's not the steepest that we race on, it's on the podium.
As far as for this long, I don't believe we do. I do believe we did see some team time trialing happening in the escalators. The escalators over on London, I think, get a little bit steeper. I think that's a 17% or so. But that would be at about it that I can really think of. But that's a very short punch, whereas this is for quite a good amount of time. Also, we do have the climb over in Innsbruck on the leg snapper that we have had, but I don't know if that goes up into 14% at any point. It's very close. It's very close.
It might go to 14 actually, but it's well. And let's talk about the challenges that the teams face then, right? If I've talked so much about the distribution of the power and talent amongst the team, but if you have a high level of differential there from the best riders to your fourth rider where you're getting your time off of, that's a very challenging sector. And this team down to 4 riders early as we're in with Pettinger and Division Squad. This is another legacy team, no doubt about it. They're about 10K into what's 27 and a half kilometers of racing. It equals 2 laps on the course here today.
Yeah, Vision, this section, of course, is pretty crucial as far as the speed goes. One of the things I think that's going to be really interesting about this course is getting back up to speed over and over again after each one of the climbing sections. I think what will be very telling is how well the riders are able to recover from those climbs is going to be telling as far as you have riders who I think can get by in an all-out TTT on a flat, full gas, whereas because they just have that diesel engine, but riders who have a lot of efficiency who've been putting in big base. So I think this is really going to be a course that's going to be telling when it comes to those who are at the elite pro type level of training, especially amongst these higher ends, because the efficiency and ability to drop the heart rate down very easily and find power again after kicks like we are seeing in these climbs, they're going to be able to get up to speed again a lot quicker than maybe somebody who's, got 1 hour of power. They're doing more of that 5 to 10 hours a week, training program of a local Cat 1, Cat 2 rider type of a situation where it's not, a career necessarily, or maybe that level of training where you're doing 20 to 30 hours a week. And that's really what the payoff is a lot of times of those extra hours is the efficiency that you're able to get out of high VO2 max followed up by a very quick recovery and then right back at it again and being able to repeat that. So on these flatter sections after the climbs, getting back up to speed is, I think, it could be really telling where we can find the most seconds in this TTT.
You know where I'm going to start recruiting for my team, Nathan, is the Biathlon Academy, because that is exactly what a biathlete. Now I'm talking about the skiing and shooting, right? The whole name of the game there is, I think it's arguable. What is the toughest endurance sport in the world? Have you ever seen the finish of a world-class cross-country skiing event, right? The athletes collapse, just like the cyclists would if they weren't on bicycles that just had momentum to keep them rolling. It's this at a mountaintop finish, right? I've seen many races where you have to catch the riders as they come across the line. So that being said, that ability to recover quickly is 100% the name of the game. Nathan, you nailed it right there, because when you come off of the front, you're going to be at your max heart rate plus. You're into that purple zone, that very scary place, a little bit above the red zone, which for most human beings doesn't exist, right? But when you come off of the front, you are immediately into maximum recovery mode, trying to drop your heart rate as much as you can. Obviously, staying in the slipstream, but getting into the slipstream immediately is hard to do. And this team, Nathan, having a little bit of a trouble here. This gap is concerning because, again, it's flat now. This is where you can recover quickly. And on a downhill, you can even overcompensate. So this
Yeah,
is
and
where I
Metzger's
think
going to have to pull
Nathan.
this back together. As you can see here, 5.8 watts per kilogram coming from him. And this is not really what you want on a downhill section like this from the riders behind, because their job right now should be recovering. Whereas
You've got
Saunders,
3 riders fighting the wind instead of one. Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So, I mean, Towle here now, they're able to get back on terms, but you do see a good amount of time was most likely lost there instead of just being able to recover, as well as energy expended that could have been used to kick at the bottom of this and go right back into a steady rhythm. So, a little bit of struggle here coming from Vision APAC today. VCRT here, see if they're able to hold it together a little bit better. This is the major climb really out on course right before the finish, and it looks like they are all together, and they've got a lot of riders actually. Are they rolling with
What a
8
different story.
still? Look at this.
Yeah, well, so that's night and day, isn't it? A 4-rider team that has just really been taking a barrage out there. You could see the 4 riders were struggling to stay together versus this. This looks like a peloton right now, as VCRT is absolutely rolled. They're going 64 kilometers per hour right now. I mean, Nathan, when I was in Harrogate, I would guess that it was a 30-kilometer-an-hour speed limit in these really nice neighborhoods right near where the Zwift Draft House was. So they're breaking the speed limit by a lot right now as they hightail their way around town. They're going to complete their first lap pretty quickly here. I'll be interested to see. We're seeing some of the splits coming in. Hang in there with us, folks. But I see INC Innovation, always a strong team, in with an 8:12. Very close there. It's only 8 seconds back to the Evo Extra Turbo Snails. But this team's got it together, Nathan. I mean, they're flying right now, but that's only a snapshot. But the formation that they're in, for what we're looking at now, we were talking about straight line, old school versus the blob technique. Well, when you've got 8 riders and you're going over 60K per hour, blob it up. Just keep coming over the top. Keep coming over the top. It's absolutely perfect. No one rider. Everybody is pulling on the rope right now.
My suggestion here is if anybody does have any thing left, I would put 2 or 3 riders into a sprint over and over and over again to the front. So I would see orange numbers from a rider at the back, punch at the from the back to the front, get into super tuck, and then wait, and then another rider and another. And if you time it perfectly, you could get that pack up to about 75 kilometers per hour. I bet on that downhill, but it would have to be some really good timing.
Yeah, and that's, that would be masterclass, right? If you can do that, your team is kicking butt out there.
Here's
and that's
my
what
boys.
these teams are. Yeah, right, here we go.
The Blur boys.
Well, they look
Blur
good.
Boys. They do look good. They look like they're all together here. Welton is a very strong rider. He put me through the hurt locker a couple of weeks back, that's for sure. And seems to have
good for him.
Good
for him.
VO2 pushes. So
I want to learn more about this guy, because anybody who puts Nathan in the hurt locker is a friend of mine. That's for sure.
Welton now 4.7 watts per kilogram, 169 beats per minute.
We try to wear
watts.
Nathan out around here in Zwift Community Live. The whole goal is to get Nathan on the bike and wear him out, because it's just unbelievable how much energy you have, man. And I'm glad you're racing tonight. I'll be excited to watch, to tell you the truth. I'll go on your Twitch channel to tell you the truth. That's the best place to watch you.
That is, yeah. I'll be sharing it across. All the socials. So anybody wants to check it out, I appreciate that.
A lot of comments. You got a lot of buddies, man. A lot of comments there. I try to kind of be quiet because I might be rooting for another team too. You never know.
We got Bobbin here off the front. Mana Endurance now pushing a little bit, as you do see 360, 164 beats per minute. We'll see what OTR Blur can set, but they are, as you can see on the front there, 7 watts per kilogram real quickly coming from one of the riders there. So 50 kilometers per hour on the flat. They're rolling through nicely, carrying that speed off of the climb.
All things considered, right? And you don't have much momentum, right? So, yeah, if you can hit this now, they're going downhill a little bit. But, right, Nathan, 50K on the flat, if you can hold that, that's pretty much the magic number. Any faster than that, and you're going to be on the podium. How's that as a way to put it? In with Z Sun R right now, Brownie.
decent out here now, as you do see 59 kilometers per hour, slowing a little bit as they head to the bottom of this descent. They'll be taking the left-hand turn here in just a moment. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see where that current gradient is at. There is the going by the pens in just a moment. And that next to the pens is our 14-kilometer mark. So they're about halfway through. They're actually halfway through their race at that point. We'll get some more time checks as they come in. We will not be filling in a few of the time checks, just so everybody knows. We're missing the first splits for most of the coffee classes, we're being told. So just as a heads up, Zwift was unable to transfer those splits over, so we'll have to be waiting. We'll be waiting for the 14K split instead across the board pretty much. But as you do see, it is going to be VCRT with a solid time, it looks like. Taking down 1927. Tie game with On the River Blur and Vision Deepak at 1949. Vision Deepak are doing an amazing job with only 4 riders out there versus the rest that were, the 7 and the 8 that they're up against there. So shout out to them, even though being able to really compete, even though they only had 4 across the first lap.
Nathan, this week I heard Anna Russell talking about the Aero helmet having a 4-watt advantage, or reducing 4 watts of power that you have to create. Do you race with an Aero helmet?
Yes, if I do put on the Aero helmet. I do everything you need to do, like everything.
Like
like
anything that gives you a watt, you'll do.
And even and also part of it is also some old school MMO like World of Warcraft that I used to play, where like you show up with the coolest gear. That's all there is to it. If you earned the gear, you show up that which is going to critical hit the best you possibly can, because every single point is going to matter. At the end of the day, if you're taking down a raid boss, essentially that's what this is you are taking down like the raid boss, which is the TTT, up against all of these other teams that are going up against that to try and get the best time in the TTT with your group. That 1 or 2 points could be the difference, right, between whether or not you take it down faster than everybody else that's in the competition with you. So, of course, I'm going to show up with the best gear, in my opinion, every little bit. And, they say, oh, it's negligible. Well, I think that it's negligible.
Everything is, right? It all adds
Yeah,
up.
exactly. It all adds up. And if you've got 5 guys with the TTT helmet on, with the time trial helmet on, you're going to have that extra data point, that 1 or 2 points across all of them. That's going to add up on the speed if it starts to snowball at all. So I just think that if you got the gear, you show up with it. The negligible as well on the tests, they have to do is speed tests that are across 30 minutes to an hour of a single rider. It doesn't have the data coalescence that you have in tests like this. So I just think that you show up with the gear if you earn it.
And I think just to translate that into layman's terms, if you had a team of 8 riders all wearing the Aero helmet who put out the exact same effort with the same quality ride technique, all of that, it would be at the end of the race a 10 to 14 second difference. All things, so
it's a good point. And that doesn't take into account compound interest, man. Come on.
Exactly. So,
there's the compounding to the data.
I can say that this reminds me of Greg LeMond in 1989, the only guy to use the tri-bars and an Aero helmet. Fignon was just, may rest in peace, just went with the old ponytail, bare head, didn't put any effort into aerodynamics. And that was the difference out there. There's a lot of other things too, of course, heart and all of that. But as Nathan said, if there's any advantage that you can find that doesn't have a corresponding disadvantage that goes with it, I mean, if the disadvantage is you look like a nerd, that's a disadvantage you're going to have to take, I think. Like shoe covers, all of those things. Nobody's wearing shoe covers because they want to spend €80 on shoe covers and have their
have you ever
feet
tried to put a shoe cover
swampy.
on? Do you know, like,
or tear them when you're putting them on? Right. Yeah, no,
it's
absolutely. Nobody enjoys that. There's nothing about shoe covers that are cool except for the fact that they'll save you 15 seconds in a time trial. And that's really cool when you're making your living racing a bike.
But there's a way now. I mean, now when the right people wear shoe covers, it all changes, though. Like that's just the reality of how.
That's
it goes,
a whole other
man.
topic. Yeah. Right.
Anyways, all right. Let's look at the times currently. Dirt Chasers in the Frappe 20:55 right now. We're going to see in Garde. It looks like they're at 21:15. Kiss Racing Team at 21:17, and then it's going to be Z Scott Wolvers. I believe that's who we're looking at right now. If I'm not right.
That's my. That's my poster choice. Just
There it
saying.
is. All right. Well, good lead in there, Dave. Let's go ahead and get right on into that because the situation is. Okay, go ahead, Dave. This is the poster competition.
Well,
We do this every week. We have some picks, and Martin decided to say no go for his picks this week. So we're gonna go. So Dave, this was your
well,
pick. What's up with this one?
Martin was overwhelmed with everything going on, I think, and he just didn't get a choice in. So it's we both got a choice today. Mine is the guys we're watching racing right now, the Z Scott Wolvers. I just felt like it was scary. It had that animal instinct that bike racers need. And that wolf looks like he's about to eat your face off, right? So that's my
And that's
choice.
what these
I don't know.
boys
I'm
are
in that kind
doing.
of a
They're
mood.
eating
I'm in
faces
that
off
mood.
at fourth place currently right now.
Yeah.
Great job to them. Now, these guys, they hit a special place in my heart. And when I was like in seventh grade, to be honest, skipping out of school and in a lot of trouble, I found Lord of the Rings, and it changed my life, to be
Oh,
honest. And I'm
awesome.
not kidding
That's
you.
the
It was the
greatest.
first
Yeah.
ones I started reading. I sat in the corner, and it was probably the only education I got was reading Lord of the Rings from seventh grade, the entirety of seventh grade. So
This is what was before Harry Potter.
oh,
Before Harry
Paul, don't
Potter,
even.
this-
We're just not even gonna Harry Potter. We.
Oh no, there's
Sorry.
a depth to this. It's absolutely no. I'm with you, Nathan. Come on, man. I'm 54, right?
All right, I'm gonna go with you. All right, I got you.
Right,
So
I
you
never
and
read
Tolkien
Harry
were,
Potter.
You and Tolkien were best friends, is what you're saying. No,
So the Hobbit, and this moved me, man. I'm with you. I just didn't want to take the same vote as yours again this week. But so the Shire, right? That's where Bilbo Baggins, throwing some knowledge at you. Where
Yeah,
Bilbo
so
Baggins
the
lived,
Dirty Chronicle,
right?
WTRL Zone 2. I love how they put it all across, like what's happening and everything. But he says, "No, Pete, I said Yorkshire FFS." Come on, Stuart, we're almost to the Shire now. So I'm hoping they got a good time and didn't get lost out there. But Lord of the Dirt Digglers, I really appreciate the poster here with Gandalf leading the charge the wrong direction, I guess, but that's okay. If they end up in the Shire, that's a good place to be. They're probably going to be plenty full at the end of the day, as there's lots of good sweets and foods in the Shire, and probably a good pub to stop by. So, Zwift Scotland, now, as you can see. Go ahead there, Dave.
Yeah, this World Championship course, Nathan, was as Lord of the Rings-ish as you could imagine, right? Like you would really feel like hobbits did live here at some point. I guess that's sort of what the Middle Earth was all about. But in with the dirt team, dads indoors riding trainers. And let's see what we've got here. So we're in with the frappes right now. We love being able to jump in and cover outside of the espressos, which is, there are some changes now that we're seeing. Obviously, we were talking about the Vienna categories, having the subgroups now to make things even more fun for the women. But this is always a very competitive group, the frappes. Working man's category here.
2020 from Fleetwood Mac, currently 16 seconds up from the Innovation Alien Express. Two guys rimmed there to 2046 right now. Dirt Time Chasers 2055. So the sub 21s starting to come in at that 14K mark, as you can see. This team right now are into their second lap. As you can see, let's go ahead and give you guys an idea of exactly where these Dirt Time Chasers are at right now. It's going to help us out, I think, a little bit. 17.8K in, and they are up and over the top of this reverse KOM is where they are at. But here's the graphic to give you guys an idea. And this is going to be leading downhill toward that 20-kilometer mark section, and then they're going to be doing a little bit of a climb into the pasture, and then they'll be hitting that 14% peak there in just a moment.
They're hitting that super tuck that we love, Nathan, as the team trying to follow your advice and doing a very good job of it. This is the team that I wanted to send a special shout out to. Kieran McKenna, super cool guy, was telling me about his teammate Greg out here, and Greg was recognized. So the Blue Peter badge for everyone in America, they're saying, what? Well, Blue Peter badge is, well, from Martin explaining it to me, and I hope that Martin might be able to jump in if we need him to. But basically, think scouts or being crafty, outdoorsy, learn how to set up a tent, right? Or those kind of things. Well, Greg, his teammate, doesn't want to brag or boast, but he just won or just received one. So that's a pretty big deal over there. It's a team that's a lot of fun to have with us, that's for sure. As it looks like, so that's the Time Chasers that we've been with. There's that great aerial shot. squad working well together.
So there be,
See, it's
if you remember the
8%.
graphic
Yeah, it's
there,
really
that
steep.
7% gradient that they were just about to head on in toward and then into the pasture. Then it's going to be the 14% gradient. It'll be the climb out of the pastures and then one last climb before they head to the downhill into the finish line. So a little bit more racing to go here for the Frappe crew. Currently, the standings are R3R Fleetwood Mac at the top of the board. Move our way backwards and see if we can find that team out on
They're
course.
monsters, those Fleetwood Mac guys. They're unbelievable. They're back, Nathan. It looks like they're on the standard that they've set. Great job, R3R Fleetwood Mac. 2020, the fast time at the left. But I do see we've got times coming in now from our final checkpoint at 20K. That's going to tell a story now. Again, teams start in their reverse order based on their results from the previous week. So the fastest teams are out there last. And we're going to see some catches being made. This is race 3R. Doing exactly that, Nathan. Catch being made. It's always very tricky here. We'll have some extra grace allowed because it's going to be hard to get through cleanly here. We'll see how everyone does. They all know the name of the game.
This reverse KOM is definitely a difficult one. So we'll see how this is going to play out. But
yeah, this is a weird place to make the catch. No one's fault, just a tough place.
With less than a half a lap to go, I would go all in at this point and drop one rider if need be. And I think Hetherington might be the one that's going to suffer off the back. We'll see if he can get back on terms. Jay Martin, though, they still have 6. At that point, it's enough for the downhills, and you just let it go, I think.
I agree because, we'll see. And sometimes you never know. Maybe the rider had a dropout in a technical and is going to come back because I think that's the case. He's coming back, Nathan. But that's on the rider to do that, not the team to wait. Completely agree with you.
Yeah, they do not want to be waiting at all at this point. That would be
no waiting.
That would not be working it out. Now, it does look like across the Viennas we did get all the times checks in, so that's great to see that the data did come on through. It looks like Sox Watts set 10 seconds faster than Seesaw I Race Like a Girl. Wonder Woman at 9:12. So Seesaw I Race Like a Girl having a very different race this week. Now, this is Seesaw I Race Like a Girl do. They were one of the first ones to go out. We'll move our way backwards through all of the racers, though, just so everybody knows that they have multiple teams out on course, some of these branded teams. But we are looking at the top 4 there. Sox Watts, Sisu, Wonder Woman, and then it's going to be the Choppers. Then the second team, that's Sox Watts Aero Unicorn, followed up by Aeonian Banditas, Cryo RDT Wrens, that we're looking at right now, followed by Z-Sun Hypernova and the BRT Atomic Kittens. Now, the first one to come through, Sisu Du, that we were just looking at, that went ahead and changed up for the 20K mark. So I'll go ahead, though, and put this back onto the 14K to give everybody an idea where things stand right now. And there is a battle. I mean, Sox Rocks aren't walking away with this. 11 seconds.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. And, typically it's Wonder Women that are pushing them. So this is big for Sisu. Congratulations for the ride they've had up to this point. Let's see if they can close out the deal because that's, Nathan, it's interesting, isn't it? Every 3 or 4 months, a team starts to make that jump forward, a quantum leap. Is it going to be Sisu that picks up some wins here? Because Wonder Women have been the interlopers there on what has been a Sox for Watch party on the podium over the last, I'm thinking last 35 weeks or so. I'm sure Martin has the exact data in front of him, but if I remember correctly, we should be at about a 25 out of 30 pace. So just an amazing winning percentage, but there's always the challengers. Sisu, good for you. It looks like it's their turn then to make a run at it.
Yeah, 26 or 27, Martin is letting us know. Lots of... now I'm seeing Lucy Charles is racing out here today. It looks like so. Good to see that she's on the up and up here. That's awesome to see. As we did see some tweets coming out earlier in the week that she perhaps tested positive for COVID. I think that was last week. So it's good to see that she's recovered and back out on the bike and getting some exercise in, obviously, and maybe even competing at a pretty high level because 21:38 currently, only 2 seconds behind Wonder Woman. So,
yeah, that's quite a story. Lucy Charles is a force to be reckoned with, no doubt about it. Okay, well, Sox for Watts, Nathan. They're the team to beat. They're in the lead, but it's a scant 11 seconds, folks. So we've got ourselves a real race going on here. I would have to say week in, week out, this Vienna category, they just never disappoint. That's for sure. But we have seen that trend, right? Like A good comparison might be heavyweight boxing, where you have one guy who will be, on top of the sport for a few years, but no one stays on top forever. Sox for Watts, though, has an interesting program where there's so many versions of this team, right? The feeder squads that as life happens, as you mentioned, people getting COVID or, whatever it might be. And they always have another rider ready to step in. That's part of the secret to the run that they've had, Nathan, is that, and so Sox for Watts, WRT, if they need to, they have high quality riders at their disposal.
Jumping in with the choppers. Gossage is here. Massey, Lucy Charles, we are seeing. I think we also have. Go ahead and see if we can see who we're all watching here. And it looks like it's going to be Cockruff here as well. So Charles pulling on through. And is that going to be the Red Bull kit? Yep. And
oh, really? Wow.
No, not the Red Bull kit. Excuse me. Sorry about that. What is the kit? The kit that I am so unfamiliar
I was still freaked out by how awesome that Betty Squad kit was that we saw a couple of days ago. They've been hard at work in the graphics department. There's a few new kits that I'm recognizing here. Lucy Charles is one of the best who races out here in the esports world. Her team, the Choppers, they had their run for sure. And Nathan, you never know when they'll be back. That's a good point too, isn't it? That the Choppers here, once we move into, I know in England right now or the UK, full lockdown mode, and obviously it's not an ideal time, but we're seeing so many folks coming back to Zwift again, and maybe the Choppers become that team to beat. They were for quite a while.
Yeah, and we do see.
Is that a Red Bull helmet on?
It's a Red Bull helmet. That's what I had noticed. Yeah,
right.
It's all matching there too, so
that's incredibly cool.
Setup.
I did not know that you could get an in-game Red Bull helmet, and that is, I would think, one of the best signs for an athlete. If Red Bull invests in you, it's a huge deal. It's not just a check that they write, and it's not just a fridge full of Red Bull. They invest in their athletes, Nathan, in really, really cool ways. They'll throw resources at your training. They'll bring the mentality of the elite athletes. I've heard from Tim Johnson, who's a Red Bull ambassador, that Chloe Dygert wears that helmet. There's a few Americans, actually, that are lucky enough to work with Red Bull. It's really interesting that Lucy Charles has that helmet in game. She clearly has earned that.
Looking back, it looks like they did push pretty intensely for Walton to get dropped early on. And that's the reality of the climbing out here, I think. Wonder Woman here, 6.2 watts per kilogram, with Kessler giving a little bit of a dig at the front. Is that going to be CCI Race Like a Girl actually going past the Wonder Women this week? So, wow.
Oh, wow. That's unheard of.
Catherine Curry, Kessler, Wendorf, all trying to make the pass into the pasture here. This is very interesting to see how this is playing out here. Yeah, very wild. And we'll see how this ends up playing out, as I think CCI Race Like a Girl are on a freight train this week, trying to do their best to get the better of Sox for Watts. Sox for Watts are 46 seconds back. So you can see here, here's Leah Thorvaldsen, Rachel Elliott now making her way to the front. Hubach, Hansen. We've got the triple threat that is Hubach, Hansen, as well as Pole is here as well. Nealon is there. Vicky Nealon on the front. And there's the three Hino kids there pulling over the top there at the 7% gradient. We'll see if they can close the gap down. I think Thorvaldsen's dropping off because this is going to be the back end of the race. Who's this? Yes, as you can see, Thorvaldsen now no longer maybe going to have to be let go at this point, as the final push to the line, I think, to try and chase down that time from CCI Race Like a Girl. You see Pamela Levine. She's done her work for the team that they're chasing as she backs off.
Perfect example of how this all works here. This team is an all-star squad. The riders don't all race on Hino, but that red jersey that you see representing a few of the riders, this is right now the ZRL's #1 team, the most dominant squad. They won all 8 races in the 8-race series. It was a points-based series that just wrapped up for the community leagues are still racing. A couple more weeks to go. One more team time trial. And thanks to our friends at WTRL, this team time trial format is half of the races that we do in the Zwift Racing League. And the experience that you have coming out of the Racing on Thursday experience has paid off big. And Nathan, this is a really good example. Hino does their work, and they show up week after week after week. It's just amazing. And that's socks for Watts, really. When I say Hino, I don't mean Hino today, even though you see that jersey. It's like in the All-Star game where you wear your team's jersey, but you got a new team. Well, these are the legit all-stars of esports and racing on Zwift. So that's going to be socks for Watts WRT. You can see that the gap is, I mean, I would say tenuous, Nathan. This course gives you a lot to work with. Sisu, I Race Like a Girl, is riding out of their minds out here today. I'm going to be paying a lot more attention now to the riders that are making up that Sisu squad. I'm wondering, have there been some, I mean, they have gone up a level, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a look here and see because they're most likely climbing at this point or about to start the climb. They are mixing in a little bit with the Z-Sun riders as, they're going to be trying to come into this climb as fast as they possibly can. 4% gradient, as you can see here, as they come flying by Z-Sun as best they can. Kessler now 6-7 watts per kilogram from Curry. Now they're starting to get the separation that they need. And when they hit this 14% gradient, it's going to be all in because right now, as you can see, V-Win. V-Win doesn't pull any punches when it comes to the communication in game. We have a lot of cheeky interaction, and you can see it straight up between the riders sometimes in the text. And I've got to say, from what I've seen from V-Win, she is a competitor. She lets the passion fly, it seems like. Back off. Like, get off of the wheel, trying to have a little bit of corralling to the rules there, it looks like. But Catherine Curry now to the front. Kessler, Johan, and Wendorf. This is the moment of truth, I think. If they're going to make up any time, 29:09 versus 29:26, this is it.
Yeah, this is where your smart trainer earns its money, right? I mean, this is where it's doing as much as it possibly can. Is the wattage is going to be huge as you're fighting to get up a 14% grade, absolute pinch point out on the course here today. You can lose the race on this climb. Can't quite win it, but you can make your mark. That's for sure. And so that is going to be, what a scene. It is a dog's breakfast right now on this climb.
I'm going to jump real
Left,
quickly
right,
with
center.
the men because they are finishing up a lot of them and want to make sure that we're covering in with the espressos here as best as we possibly can. This is going to be cartridges here from the Innovation Boys there. James Barnes there from Barney from hanging out over on Twitch, most likely live with this effort right now as well. Then it's going to be Vardy and then Squeaky Voice. It looks like coming across the line, looking back, and I believe they were going to be the last ones across the line, if I'm not incorrect. Z-Sun, Red Giants with a 26.56, VCRT Doggos 27. I believe that Z-Sun had a ride of their life today, and I don't think that's getting caught. This is really telling, I think, when it comes to who we have for the climbers out here versus who we've got for maybe more just big powerhouses. I was out on course with Kristen Kolchinski yesterday. I jumped in and just she was out riding the world's course, it looked like, as a recon ride. And it reminded me of what it is to have the difference between a lightweight rider and a rider who's just got a little bit more power, and the weight difference between myself and Kristen, she would just hammer the hills. I would be like, okay, I got to just hang on, and she's getting ready for world championships. Obviously very strong, light rider, 7-8 watts per kilogram kicking it. I'm like, all right, hang on. But then we would get into the flats and I'm pulling 3.5 to 4 and gapping while she's pulling 3.5 to 4 because my watts are just producing more speed. Right. So I think that this course, now the way that relates is that this course is going to, benefit, I think, in some ways, a lot of the climbers rather than just the pure TT time trialists.
Oh, can you imagine if you had a team that was made up of four Catherine Curies and 4 Kristen Kolchinskis?
Yeah, it would just be
unbelievable.
Monster watts on the flats and then just hang on because the climbers are coming through, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it would be something. And that's really, for these teams, the challenge of finding that mix of 8 riders. And Wonder Woman found that mix, that's for sure. And they're now coming, so 30-21 the time that they had there at the split. And you can see that it's far enough back that they're probably more worried about the choppers right behind them. As you can see, that gap is 8 seconds there between third and fourth on a 3-team podium. That's really one of the big differences. You always hear about teams and riders when you look at results. Being on the first page of results is a big deal. If it's multiple pages, obviously, if you're not on the first page, that kind of sucks. But if you uh, really getting into the top 10 is a goal for a lot of young riders. Then finally getting onto the podium. And then once you're into that neighborhood of winning, and that's going to be where Lenny Ramsey lives here, as we take a look at a team that's working hard now. But amazing ride from Sisu. I Race Like a Girl today. Is I cannot wait to see how close it is between them and Socks for Watts WRT, who are, I would have to say, the undeniable champions of the world.
Yeah, that definitely undeniable champions of the world with the performances that we've seen them, and they earned it last week, and now they're showing exactly why. I have no idea what is going on here with V-Win because I'm not seeing
Back
anybody,
off.
anybody like I see nothing but teammates around her. So I'm not sure. Maybe the cat is pressing buttons.
It might be her cat.
Yeah, the cat is typing back off. I'm not sure. Maybe she's got a hotkey. There's a hotkey just for saying back off, and the cat is jumping all over the hotkey over and over again. So,
V-Win is not only a talented rider, one of the smartest people I've ever encountered in life, and who has a tremendously entertaining Instagram. I'd highly recommend you follow V.
Now, interesting here, I believe Socks for Watts have pulled back a good amount of time because Sisu I Race Like a Girl, I believe they had a 2-second gap. It looks like Leah Thorvaldsen having a good ride. It's got to be all the cookies and the cookie competition
for her. She
she's
fought
been
back.
doing. And
did you see
big
her
shout out
podium
to her.
video? Did you see the unicorn podium video that she put up after they won Worlds? Socks for Watts? It was on her social
the
media.
Cookie competition?
I'll send it to you.
You're talking about the cookie competition?
No, this was different. She did this really cool, homemade, sort of like TikTok-y, but I don't think it was TikTok. But she used some editing skills to. She was in a unicorn outfit from head to toe. I mean, it was a commitment to the unicorn process for sure. She didn't mail that in, and she got up on the podium and opened a bottle of champagne. They were world champs.
I'm loving it. That's so great. So great.
It was great.
Personally, I just really enjoyed the cookie competition.
That was the best. That was the best.
And no, the Jammers do not win. I'm with her 100% there. It's not about the Jammers. We're gonna have our own cookie competitions. I had so much fun with that one. But the Hobnobs were where it was at. Hobnobs for the win, Leah. Leah needs to get maybe a couple of extra cookies right now because these Monster Watts are taking off on her. Get back on terms here. Maybe she'll get a little motivation.
Yeah, I mean, these are the best in the world that you're looking at here. Just trying to rein it in a little bit. They're at that 2K to go point, so it's not quite time to release the hounds, is it, Nathan? There's a rider who's going to be at the World Championships.
Now it's all about just sprinting downhill. I think a lot of riders, are going to try and be consistent.
It's nice if they're in your wheel, though. You want to get that in the wheel vibe. Yeah. It's Hansen going to Worlds coming up in a week. Everyone's so excited for December 9th. I am amongst them, Nathan. I cannot wait. With the event being a worldwide world championship, it's pretty early start over here in the U.S. If you're on the West Coast, like team member Laura Matson-Co, congratulations to her, another one of our Zwift community riders. You're going to be starting, I think it's 6:30 in the morning, something like that. So it's not unreasonable. It's not ideal either. But with all the adrenaline you'll have for Worlds, don't worry. You'll wake up in plenty of time.
Yeah, it'll be.
You don't sleep through Worlds, right?
No, and those early wake ups in big competitions, especially on big days, unless you've got a lot of experience in racing, sleeping doesn't always come easy anyway. So the night before
I agree,
big
and you know what? Killing 5 or 6 hours through the middle part of the day is just torture. When you know you're going to have to race, so you don't want to do anything straight. You know what I mean? It's mentally a challenge. I would rather get the race done early in the morning, to tell you the truth. It's also, you don't need to fuel like you would for a 6.5 hour road race in real life Worlds. It's a whole different animal. We're so excited. I'll just say it to all the riders who are part of our Zwift community. Wishing you the best of luck out there, as I know it's going to be some of the biggest challenges you've ever faced in your lives, but I think you're up to it, my friends. We're watching now the overtaking of Z-Sun by Socks for Watts.
coming to the line,
Kirsten
most likely
Pohl's a
with another
monster,
win.
too.
This is always amazing to watch here. And
I think
56
they got
kilometers
it.
per hour, they roll right on through. Z-Sun coming in behind them. And that's going to be all of our ladies on the day for the Viennas. Let's go ahead and jump on in with the Frappes as they're finishing up their ride. Two guys here on the final climb and into the downhill.
Yeah, less than 2K until this one is done. Do they have 4? Yep, they do. Good sign. 4 together. They look coordinated.
All right,
Nice
we're
job,
actually,
guys.
I'm maybe in a mistake here as I'm jumping in with the Mochas. My mistake. The Frappes have finished at this
That's okay.
point. So let's go ahead and jump on over into the Mochas.
Got a little bonus mocha.
Up.
Little bonus mocha, baby. No one's down on that.
Que Afonso Torres here, as well as Antonio hammering away. And this rider may be live. Torres, I'm going to have to double check here, but I believe one of these riders may be live streaming their ride here.
It's actually pretty close there. If you take a look from the Hurricane back to TBR Z6M1, that's Charlie and company. Was that Mr. Milkshake, I believe, was Charlie's handle?
Mr.
30. Yeah, I can relate. I'm cutting those out now with the you should be happy to hear that, Nathan, with the Nathan's Challenge coming up.
You're cutting out milkshakes?
Yes,
that's like
sir.
A thing? You and Kate Bates are battling it out. It's Australia.
Yeah.
It is now officially amongst the commentary crew. It's Australia versus the USA because of you two now.
Well, I tell you what,
there's a lot of smack talk going on during the ZRL this past week.
She's a world champion already in her career, and I did not back down, did I? I felt like I held
you told her she had overconfidence. You straight up said, "Well, good luck with taking too much overconfidence to the line." Yeah. I invited her to a threshold workout after the commentary, but she didn't show up, so you might have a one up on her now.
Oh, there you go. You can see who's committed. That's for sure. It's two guys bringing it home. Nathan, do you know what two guys stands for? I meant to ask you this the other day.
It makes me feel like somebody's trying to ride a motorbike. Wah, 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 wah is what we got there, I think. So, like a little bit of brap going on there is what it feels like. But I bet you we're going to hear all about it now. So let us know exactly what that means.
Yeah, hey, everybody out there watching again, thanks for being with us as we're finishing up out here on the Harrogate course. This was the World Championship course from just last year, and looks like we're almost there. We have all of our different categories. You can always go to WTRL.racing. They have a great website. It's really easy to navigate and find out all the information about the different categories and upcoming information because, Nathan, there have been a lot of changes going on. How would I put it? Refinements as the league grows. We watch participation skyrocket. Today we had 4,800 racers out here with us. Thanks to each and every one of you.
Looking around a little bit here to see if we can find a few more of our riders out on course. It does look like one of our Team Type 1 Lancets here finishing up their ride. I believe we're going to have to call it quits.
There's no Mr. Milkshake on that team.
No milkshake. Well, maybe. I mean,
dietetic milkshakes.
I mean, anyways, I'm not as familiar. I'm going to leave that one alone.
They're watching their diet for sure. That's what I'm saying is they're already ahead of that. They don't have to quit milkshakes, I'm guessing. They've already moved into a healthy diet. It makes a big difference, doesn't it, Nathan? The fuel that you put in your body? Holy cow. You can't do this on junk food.
No, you can't. The fuel you put in is 100% a huge part of all of cycling, that's for sure. And
that doesn't mean... I was going to say, Nathan, that doesn't mean you can't reward yourself with a huge, juicy hamburger or whatever it is as a reward after your efforts. That no doubt. But, right, it's just sort of a baseline. Take care of yourself. The sport's tough. Not for the weak of heart or stomach.
All right, I think let's go ahead and start to take a look at some of our results here as they do come in. Mochas are just going to be finishing up. I have a feeling, though, that a lot of our, this course was brutal. I think we're going to have some pretty big, differentiations between each one of the categories here.
the time gaps will be huge, I would think, in our top 10, where sometimes you'll see just 1 minute separating first back to 10th. I would expect it'll be more like 4 or 5 minutes, even though it wasn't a long course, 27 and a half kilometers of racing out here. It was super challenging. I think we call racers relentless. This was a course that was relentless. You never really caught a break out there today. So to all our teams that were able to finish with more than 4 riders, that's going to be pretty rare. I'm going to guess the average number of riders at the finish line for teams is going to be 4.3, something like that. Really, really low.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to get an
A
idea.
lot of teams had to say goodbye to riders along the way on this journey.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right there. That things got completely blown apart, but it's probably a part of the way that the teams had planned. They had probably planned for that. So
hopefully you did, right? You sacrifice riders in the first 10K, do a lot of pace setting, keeping the speed high, knowing that you weren't going to make it over that pinch point at that 14% grade. If you could do work for the team up to that point, you could be very valuable on the day.
We're going to go ahead and start to take a look at our results here. Before we do that, though, as we wait for some of them to come in, I want to give everybody a quick reminder. This weekend, we've got the Nations Challenge. It is the lead up into the UCI World Championship next week, Wednesday on the 9th. We're going to have men's and women's crowned world champions out on Zwift Esports World Championships. But you can take place on the 5th and the 6th. We've got Nations Challenges, where it's essentially a entire country team time trial, just getting the absolute fastest time that they possibly can for your nation. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. As well as all week, there are podcast ride going on as well on the course, where you can ride around on the course, get a preview of it, and hang out with some chat coming from some very prolific names in the world of cycling. But let's take a quick look at what this Nations Championships is all about. And we do have a list here of all of the different nations that you can ride in the challenge. Now, they took this from the top 22 subscriptions out on Zwift, and then if you are not a part of one of these, then you can jump into the rest of the world competition. But as you can see here, if you are a part of one of these nations, go ahead and jump on in and compete for your country to try and take down that, to be the top country in the world when it comes to racing for your country on the Nations Challenge. Pretty cool. It'll be happening this weekend. There's going to be 44 events. Go ahead and head on over to the companion app to check that out. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I'm going to be jumping in there. It's going to be a tough weekend, actually, for me. If I'm doing that and the KISS 100 on top of that, adding there's so many events sometimes out on Zwift, Dave, that you end up with all of this extra training because of it. Like you want to do so many different things that you end up going, okay, well, we're just going to get fitter and fitter. The hard part sometimes is not overtraining.
Yeah, I can't wait to go do the podcast ride with Cav. I'm stoked for that. I've always been a big fan of that guy. So
I saw also a tweet with Brennauer as well earlier, and that sounded pretty cool, hearing about some of her early career situations and how she's learned as a rider to get to the top end of the world. So a lot of really cool stuff happening this week with Worlds. So definitely go check all that out. The companion app's got all the information for the events. Definitely one of the best places to go for that. You'll see me out there. Dave's going to be doing it. Kate's going to be doing it. I don't know if Martin's going to be doing it. We'll see. I believe Anna's going to be jumping in there as well from our whole commentary team. So that's going to be really cool. Also, next week, we've got this really great event happening with WBR, with the WT, not next week, but 2 weeks, 2 weeks from now on the 17th. WTRL TTT number 87 World Bicycle Relief, Thursday the 17th of December 2020. They are shooting to hit $50,000 raised in order to buy Buffalo bikes. It's going to be absolutely awesome. It's 2 laps of sand and sequoias. We're going to have all-star talent teams, I think, is going to be happening as well. We might be putting Nathan on a bike live here. I think I think OJ Borg is trying to put something together as well with his own kind of talent team or special all-star team. So a lot's going on. Currently, we're at almost $7,000, 64.35 currently. And our target goal is 50,000. So make sure to head on over to WTRL for more information on that. Donate if you can. Again, Dave, you've been involved with the WBR for a long time. I've noticed, and I think, you want to share a little bit about what your experience is and what they're all about?
Hey, thanks for giving me an opportunity. It's absolutely my passion goes right in line with what they're about, and that's how bicycles can save the world. And in sub-Saharan Africa, it actually started, if you remember back in 2003 in Asia with the tsunami. That was kind of what got the impetus for World Bicycle Relief going. But then the need really shifted with the AIDS crisis, which has obviously been ongoing for a long time. So healthcare workers were really the first start of getting these bikes. And it was really cool to watch when it's like, wow, we did 50,000 bikes and then 100,000 bikes and then 250,000 bikes. And it's just grown because people, when they hear about it's less than, let's just say, $140 US dollars, you can buy a bike. And that bike comes with more than, see, if you just throw bikes into these communities, it does more damage than good because, the bullies and the power brokers in these villages will just take the bikes away from the person it was meant to go to, whatever happens. So in this case, it's a whole program built around the bicycles are given to, let's just say, a 15-year-old young woman and it gets her to school. She then can loan the bike, or the family will use that bike. Her brother will use it to work. Her dad will use it to go do some work of his own. Her mom will use it to get water. They can really use that bike to change their lives, and then the ripple effect goes. And so it's things like healthcare workers, young women who aren't getting their education. The bicycle's changing that. $140, you can change that. And everybody needs a karma rebate right there. So I'm really passionate about it. Thanks for giving me the time.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So 2 weeks from now, be on the watch out for that, everybody. Make sure to keep on heading on over to WTRL.racing. That is your one stop at this point for all these things that are happening.
Don't you get a minute taken off of your time, I believe?
For going over to WTRL.racing? No, I'm just kidding. No, I think there is some competition going on within this number 17 that's going to kind of cross with what is being raised as well as what is happening within the times in the competition. So be on the watch out for more information on that. I'm not going to give any specific details right now, but there will be some incentives,
some
for
bonuses,
sure.
Exactly.
Bonuses,
and I saw some teams are already raising a lot of money. So keep it up out there. We're inside of 2 weeks to that event.
Yeah, going to be great. Let's go ahead and head on over to our results, though, as it looks like they are starting to populate and come on in. And it is the usual situation here at the top. And we're going to throw it over to you, Dave, here for the Vienna Espresso.
Wow.
With the Socks for Watts at the top.
Well, congratulations again to your freshly minted world champions, the legend Socks for Watts WRT, a 40.42. That'll shatter the course record out here as well. So an 11 seconds back. Sisu, I race like a girl.
That's
I
close.
am noting this ride.
That's very close.
Incredible. Yeah, on this course, that is pure gold from Sisu. I race like a girl. Ladies, I'll continue to keep my eye on you. I know big things are coming. Wonder Women will be back as they finish third today. The Choppers finishing in fourth.
Right on their heels, too.
Yeah, it's close. Then you go 3 minutes back. In fifth place is Socks for Watts Aero Unicorns. Cryo RDT Rens in sixth. Sisu Du in seventh. Z-Sun R Hypernova eighth. Luna Chicks from R3R in ninth. And speaking of World Bicycle Relief, thanks for all you do, R3R. BRT Atomic Kittens rounding out your top 10 in the Platinum League.
Platinum League currently, except for 9th place, dominating. So everybody holding on to their spot so far, except we do see R3R Lunatics, it looks like bumping maybe one team out. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. Here we go with the Vienna Frappe Aeonian Banditas, 44-31. Sox to Watts, Odd Sox there at 48-25. Big jump for Aeonian Banditas. So it looks like the Banditas, I think, are going to be changing up categories most likely. Las Rebeldes, Total Try Training Women TTT, followed up by Vegan Bees, Team WRFC, Betty Squad coming on through for 7th place, and then it's going to be WMZ Sapphires there in 8th place. Jumping on over to Vienna Latte.
All right, and taking the win is Evo Tri W. Congratulations, there's a gold medal waiting for you. Vikings Iden in second. That's silver, and the bronze medal going to Evo Comets. You can see everybody on the podium within 1 minute of each other. That was a battle royale out there in our Vienna Latte category. It's going to be the Chaserettes in 4th, Slow ZL Taboo in 5th, GC Mad Jalapenos in 6th, Hereford Triathlon Club Towle in 7th, Z-Sun R Pluto in 8th, BRT Dark Kittens 9th, and then the Australian Hump Day Ride represented with the Hot Toddies there in 10th. Congratulations to all of our Vienna Latte riders.
And then the Viennas with a Z-Sun Quasar there in 50-53. They came through in zone 5. And then Revo Duvels, they came through with a 53.03. 3 minutes back. So big gap there. I think Z-Sun Quasar may be getting an upgrade to another. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out. Again, this is the first couple of weeks that we are doing these new Vienna categories. So as we do work this out, I believe WTRL will be making change-ups and seeing how it works out here. But I'm absolutely loving what it's been doing here for the categories amongst the women. But it's going to be Fear Not here coming on through for 3rd place. Pop Tarts followed up by Las Valientes. Total Try Training Women 2 followed up by Slozel. That's going to be Slovenian ZL Pink. And then it's going to be AHDR Watt Cookies followed up by Fearsome. And the No Drama Llamas got yelled at enough by Aaron to pull off a 10th place.
All right, let's take a look here at our Dumpio category with Z-Sun R Red Giants on the top of the table with a 37.38. That is wicked fast out there. And they'll take the gold. VCRT, the Doggos. They got a lot of fans out there. 16 seconds back for silver. Evo Warriors, very close there between 2nd and 3rd, and actually between 3rd and 1st as well, as Evo Warriors taking the bronze medal. INC Innovation in 4th. The Slozel Leibach in 5th. Evo Extra Turbo Snails in 6th. No Pins R3R E Racing Team 7th. And WTRL Volendam Edition rounding out our top 10 here. Good job, Z-Sun R.
Killing it, and it's the Ram Raiders coming on through in the Espresso with a 38.39. Innovation Euro Aliens there with the 38.51. Very competitive between them. On the River Blur coming on through with the 38.56, 4-second gap. Vision D-Pack right behind them, and 4th place followed by Cryogen Gulls, Lost Torpedoes, Dirt Jiggler, and then it's going to be Innovation Alien Monsters in 8th place. TBR Hammer Time coming on through for that 9th place at a 40.13, and 1 second difference here between Relentless and the Big Ring Hammer Time. Keep an eye on all these times here for later tonight. I'm gonna have to go get a nap. Oh man.
Hey, there they are. Good job, boys. R3R Fleetwood Mac in full effect here in the Frappe categories. They're going to take the gold medal. These guys are outstanding as they'll add another one to their tally of wins throughout 2020. Evo Vortex 1 taking the silver medal. They were 38 seconds back. It was so close there for the 2nd and 3rd as Kirkmeyer E-Cycling 4 takes the bronze medal. Good fight from 2 guys, Z-Rim as well. They were in 4th, 51 seconds back. And then look at this, 3 teams at 101. The Slozel, big strong guys, Cryogen Hawks, and Kiss Racing Team B. Well done out there. And it's only 4 more seconds back to 2 more. Look how close this is, Nathan. Unbelievable. 5th to 10th is only 6-second window there. Z Scott Wolvers, winners of the poster competition. Congratulations, guys. They're going to be in 8th place. I didn't mention Kiss Racing Team B. Good job, Kiss Racing. INC Alien Express, then, if you go down to 9th place with the 105, that was the same time as the Wolvers. And then Dirt Time Chasers, the Time Chasers, ending up in 10th. Way to go, Kieran.
And looking at the Latte Vikings Valhalla coming through with a 43-17. Kirkmeyer e-cycling at a 43-44 there. That's going to be ZRG TT3 44-31. So we can see who the climbers are in the Latte. It says Vicious Cycle Paths 44-59. RR Woolly Rhinos 45-14. Viking Volvanger there in 6th place there with a 45-23. 7th place to two guys. Quayada. Two guys nada, Team Type 1 Lancets, and then it's Valhalla Yalahorn in 10th place. And then last not least, it's the Mochas with the Hurricanes.
All right, congratulations, Team TFC. The Hurricanes lived up to their name. It was less than 5 seconds when this one was done and dusted. This was the closest race we had out there all day in the Mocha class, as Z-Sun Sirius was only 4.76 back at 8.03, was third for TBR Z6M1. That was an absolute Donnybrook out there. As Engulf will end up in 4th. Team Type 1, the A1Cs, love you guys, in 5th. Two guys Palmier in 6th. TBR 007 in 7th. And Grave in 8th. Herd of Red Kites in 9th. And Erase Miso, yes, in 10th. That's our Mochas that we get a look at. Well, there were all your teams, all our categories on what was another incredible day of racing. Already looking forward to race number 86, where I promise we won't go back. We'll find a new course for you.
Let's see what happens if I do a quick.
We wouldn't do that to you, folks. I know that no one wants to go back here next week. Greater London, I think it's going to be Greater London Flat Rev.
Greater London Flat Reverse. 2 laps of Greater London Flat Reverse. You got to register by next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Central time on Wednesdays. Number 86, WTRL TTT. It'll be fun. Alrighty then. So, well, that's going to be it for us here in the WTRL TTT. We can see all your chat. We appreciate all of the comments coming on through, everybody that's been hanging out with us. If you haven't done so already, you want to support the channel, you hit the subscribe button, the follow button, turn on notifications if you want to know anytime we go live or anytime we do schedule a live broadcast. We're here live. Next time we will be live will be next week, Tuesday, for the ZRL, starting at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. That is for the APAC. That doesn't make any sense to anybody. Most people be like, what are you talking? 10 a.m. for those watching in the UK. Maybe that helps out a little bit.
Welcome. Welcome to Nathan's World. Hey, I wanted to mention, Nathan, come join us on World of Zwift tomorrow. OJ Borge does a tremendous job. Matt Stevens and company. I'm not sure if Kristen Armstrong is on, but she usually is. It's always great. So it's tomorrow that'll be released, our 8th show. Hope
yeah, World of Zwift. It'll be over on Zwift Live. You guys can check that out. And all of the latest from the Zwift Racing League Premier Division, a look at what's happening with the community and who may be moving up, as well as a look at what's happening in the tri community and the racing community there. It's all things racing on Zwift, so it's a great World of Zwift's awesome. You can check that out over on Zwift's main product page as well as the Zwift Live page. So, all right, well, that's going to be it from us, Dave. Good
job, everybody.
We're going to be racing this weekend. Dave has committed to racing this weekend. So
see you out there.
Go follow him on the companion app and give him a whole bunch of ride-ons, bunch of messages while he's out there. And, and then you can maybe even ride
totally
next to him.
Throw me off my game. Do not send me any messages at all. I'm not very good at that. Just ride-ons are awesome. Hey, it was a fun day. Again, week 85. Thanks for all you do, Nathan.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, everybody out there as well. As always, everybody, ride on.
All right.